Gee my 'n man wat sê wat waar is. As die duiwel daar is, wat doen wat reg is. Die regter weg is, wat trou by sy gewete bly. As hy straf in plaas van beloning kry.
Good morning. In this skid mark on the 5th of August 2026, I want to talk about some of the things that is associated with you when you are diagnosed with cancer. Now, it is no longer a mystery, but a lot of people has lost faith in the pharmakeia when it comes to cancer because the success rates of extremely expensive and highly toxic treatment are not good. And people are becoming aware of it. And it was during the pestilence that there was a lot of emphasis on the role of ivermectin. And then Dr. Marcus, he was in Canada at that stage, he started publishing a lot of articles about treating people with cancer, treating them with ivermectin and fenbendazole. Now there's thousands and thousands of testimonies on the internet about the miracles of those two medications. But for the guy that has been diagnosed with cancer, and I'm now talking about South Africa specific, he is confronted with a situation. Who can guide him if he opts for the natural way to treat his cancer? And as with everything in life, there's a lot of chancers and cowboys operating, and there are a lot of people that are jumping onto the bandwagon purely for making money out of desperate people, because we know the official cancer treatment is scarily expensive and it leads to bankruptcies many times, and then the patient still dies. So more and more people are opting for the natural way, but I have said it many times on the channel, treating cancer the natural way is not a DIY thing. You still need somebody that knows what he is doing, because the ivermectin and fenbendazole is just one small part of the treatment protocol. Now, what you will, the thing that most people will experience if they opt for the natural way and they get to a good guy that will guide them through the process. And I see that there's people that are saying the sound is not so hot. I have to try and see if I can get some. Okay, Priya says the sound is correct now on his side. Okay, so you decide on the natural way and you need a guide, because if you do it on yourself, you will have to be very willing to investigate a lot and then take a chance with your own life. That's what you do, what you're going to do. And I've had a nasty experience with a person that has been treated for more than 2 years by a specific guy with a specific protocol. And in the 2 years, the growth did not disappear, but the person was not in pain or discomfort, but was taking enormous amounts of ivermectin. Now, what people have to understand that, ivermectin is a good product, but it does have side effects. And of the most prominent side effect is it can damage your liver and damage your kidney. And there are people that are prescribing enormous dosages. I read an article about a week ago in which the guy came to the conclusion that the dosage of ivermectin and fenbendazole is not the real important thing, because the ivermectin and the fenbendazole will distribute through your body and attack the cancer cells as they come in contact with it. By running those high dosage, all you are doing is you're putting your kidneys and your liver under enormous stress. And what the people do not understand, in this process of fighting the cancer, the medication, primarily now the fenbendazole and ivermectin, creates a situation where a lot of garbage is created in your body, a lot of garbage, because those things are killing the cancer cell, and those dying and dead cancer cells needs to be removed out of your system. And your lymphatic system is the one that takes the most hammering. So whatever protocol you use and whatever dosage you use, you must make sure that you assist your lymphatic system. That is why, because there's so many people in South Africa that are taking ivermectin specifically prophylactic, in other words, preventative, they do not realize that every time that they use the ivermectin, they create a lot of garbage in their system, and the system must get rid of that garbage. And let's call it the exhaust process, is limited. You can either urinate it out, or shit it out, or sweat it out, or breathe it out. But that's it. That's basically the limitations of it. And those processes are finely tuned to cope with your body. And now all of a sudden you overload that garbage removal system. And that will lead to a situation where you, the user, are going to feel really shit, because there's a lot of garbage that needs to be removed and you're actually poisoning yourself. And they have to take that into consideration. Now, as I said in the process, in the video headline, spiritually, physically, and mentally. And then another thing that is quite clear, there's a hell of a lot of people that are actually ignoring the spiritual side. I can remember when I was diagnosed with aggressive invasive bladder cancer in April 2025, a guy contacted me on WhatsApp and he said to me, look, I've been through this process 20 years ago. And at that stage, there was nothing like this ivermectin, fenbendazole protocol and so forth. So I had to go for the natural way, in a way that I had to take a good look at my lifestyle, adapt my lifestyle, modify it, and watch what I'm eating and what I'm drinking and all of those things. And I asked him about the medication side, and he said to me, the only thing that I took that you can maybe see as medication, so I ate a lot of apricot pip, 20 a day. Now, apricot pip kernels, they release into your bloodstream, they release a really dangerous poison. And if you overdose on it, it can kill you. So he went that route because there wasn't anything else. But he said something very important to me. And he said to me, you must understand, 40% of this fight, you're going to win or lose in your head. And that stuck with me. So when I started the protocol with Jan, the urologist, they immediately decided that I had to go for chemotherapy for 3 months and then they'll butcher me and whatever. I didn't take that option. It was not acceptable to me because I asked him one question and I said to him, okay, now this chemo, will it kill the cancer? And he said, no, we're hoping it might shrink the cancer to make the operations easier. And I thought to myself, okay, so why the hell must I spend all of that money, run the risk of getting killed by this thing, and it's not going to solve the cancer problem? It's just going to make his job easier. And I didn't take that route. I took the natural route, and it's well documented. It's on my channel. I've got a playlist there, My Life with Cancer, My Battle with the Cancer. You can go and check it. All the videos, I did it, and I made a point of making videos that covered basically all the bases, because you go onto the social media and you see the testimonies, and the guys will tell you he was 1 foot or 2 feet in a grave, and then he started using ivermectin and fenbendazole, and 5 months, 6 months, 7 months later he was clean. But nobody document that path from the moment that he starts taking the medication until he's clean. They don't do that. And I think that a lot of people, they shut that out of their mind because it was too rough. They don't want to remember. Now, the first thing that I can tell you now is if you go for the natural route, and you go to a guy that knows what he is doing, you must understand, apart from treating your cancer, the first thing that he will do is he's going to feed you a lot of capsules to detox your body, to get rid of the toxins in your body, because it is something triggered that cancer. So he cleans up, and that cleanup process can be hell. In my case, it was horrible. I was basically always nauseous, and I had no appetite, I had very little energy, and it was rough, and I was peeing blood and pieces like liver. which is scary for the guy that suffers from the cancer and sees those things. Because I've said it many times, the moment that you get diagnosed for cancer, in a certain aspect, you are going to experience severe feelings of being isolated and being lonely because nobody else understands it. You are the person that have to deal with the fact that you were you were given a death sentence. And to many people that care for you, you become the cancer. That's all they're focused on. And they forget about the human behind that. So it's a lonely fight. And this person that I am talking about, that I had this recent experience, for 2 years was on a protocol that did not take the cancer away. And to me, that was not right, because I mean, I've seen the testimonials and things like that. And in my own case, I was diagnosed in April 2025 with aggressive invasive bladder cancer, and the CT proved the invasion into the fat around the bladder, and the pathology confirmed aggressive invasive bladder cancer. And I went on to the alternative protocol, and by September 2025, I went for a MRI, and at the end of September, I went for another scope. And from that scope, I mean, I had a vicious scrape of my bladder, because I was, at that point in time, I was scared that a piece may break off that is too large and creates a blockage in my bladder. And a guy that I know on the West Coast, happened to him, and he died from the consequences of that. So I opted for a mechanical removal. But when the pathology came back, it clearly stated low-level localized bladder cancer. And I asked the urologist, how did we get from aggressive invasive to low-level localized? And he couldn't explain it. And he then tried and said, yeah, but the sample that was taken in April was too small. And I said, okay, now how much did you remove? And he said, yeah, 16 grams. I said, okay. Now look at that pathology report from April. The guy removed 36 grams. That's a mood of a lot more than yours. So how can you say his sample was too small? Okay, and then I could see the lights are burning and the wheels are spinning, but the hamster has fucked off. And I left it at that. So the MRI confirmed bladder wall intact, everything intact. And this guy is really good. This urologist is technically extremely good. And I have a suspicion that what he did to me, he haven't done it to anybody else at that stage. I was the first one where he went aggressively with a scrape. It was after the operation, he said to me that there's now an idea, a thought that maybe you should do an aggressive scrape before you remove a guy's bladder. And I said to him, don't tell me that. It's not a thought, it's your thought, because you are seeing the thing. But, okay, so it was a monstrous scrape. And I battled with the healing process. But the fact of the matter is, all the time I stayed on the protocol that Jan prescribed. Yeah, and this is where the problem comes. You go, and I have spoken to 2 people that went through the same process. They started the protocol, and then they started feeling extremely bad. And they were actually sick, and they were uncomfortable and all of that. And both of them, I spoke to them, and I said to them, understand, the initial stage of the protocol is focused on detoxing your body, and that detox process is hell, to say the least. And you are going to feel shit, but you have to go through it. And now we sit with a situation, a person starts the protocol, he starts feeling shit, and then he stops the protocol, and then he blames the protocol for his condition worsening, but he didn't go through the thing. Now you have to understand that physical side, you cannot dodge that physical. If you have a good caretaker, they're going to clean you up. And that process of cleaning your body can be brutal. And you have to take note of that. But that normally lasts 2 to 3 weeks. And you can also understand that the moment that you go onto the protocol, the chances are there that you are going to experience discomfort from the cancer growth itself. yourself. You must understand that thing is now under attack and is fighting back for survival. Now, there's this thing they call the Hexheimer effect, and that is where your body gets overwhelmed with toxins. Toxins created by the treatment. That is why it is so important that you follow a really good detox process, because nothing can happen curing you before the toxins are. And this person is now going fall back on that treatment she's been on for 2 years with no result, just comfort. And I'm not going to argue with somebody because in the end, it is your own decision. But from what I have experienced myself and from what I've heard from other people that spoke to me, the detox process was rough. But you must also understand, you know your body the best, and you must look for signs. And one of the first signs that you will see is that there's a possibility that your lymph node will become swollen and sensitive. And if that happens, it's actually a good sign, because it means the process is working, but it's overwhelming the lymphatic system. So you need to support that lymphatic system. And there's a lot of natural things that you can take for that. The aim of this talk is not to give you advice on products specifically. I'm talking about the process, and you have to understand that process. And that is why it is so important that your caretaker, you trust the person and it is capable, because there's a lot of fly-by-night. Trust me on that. Now, if you want to go DIY, nobody can stop you from doing it. But the fact of the matter is, you must just understand that there is inherent dangers in ivermectin and fenbendazole to damage your liver and your kidneys. If you overdose, you must be very, very careful with that. And then with that ivermectin fenbendazole, there's a few things that you have to take with it. One of the things is extremely high dosage. Vitamin D3 plus K2. You have to do that. And it's high. At certain stages of my treatment, I was taking 60,000 international units a day, where the doctors will prescribe that. And they will prescribe a dosage of 500. So it's a hell of a high. It was only for a month that I was on that extremely high. I'm running now on 30,000 units, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that is the one thing, the vitamin D3. The other thing is vitamin C. You must get enough vitamin C. And if it's, if your cancer is extremely aggressive at that stage, if you can handle it and manage it, it is good to go for the vitamin C drips intravenous, where they absolutely, flood your body with the vitamin. And then the vitamin B complexes, all the B. You need to make sure that is right, and then you're getting more than enough of that. Interesting, in September when I had my blood tests, my house doctor was quite surprised, because all the tests for the vitamin, there was no values in there, because I was over the values that they consider as normal. And he asked me about it, and he asked me about the vitamin D, and I said to him, yeah, I'm using 60,000 units, and he nearly fell off his chair. But the reality is that you cannot see the fenbendazole and ivermectin in isolation. There are things that's got to go with it. The vitamin D, the vitamin Bs, all the Bs, vitamin Cs, and then zinc. I also take lithium. So there are things that you can take with it. And all of these things you can buy online, but you must do your homework properly. And you must understand, when you start up, there is going to be 2 to 3 weeks that is going to be absolutely hell, because that initial detoxing is crazy. Now, I've got this article that was published by Dr. Marcus recently. Listen to this. New article. Ivermectin tested against 28 types of cancer. Which cancers were most sensitive to ivermectin? Which were least sensitive? A research group from Mexico investigated ivermectin in cancer. Paper 2020 Juarez et al. Anti-tumor effects of ivermectin at clinically feasible concentrations support its clinical development as a repositioned cancer drug. This paper is behind a paywall, not accessible to the general population. Ivermectin was tested at 2 milligrams per kilogram per day, which translates to roughly 5 in vitro concentration. The most sensitive cancer cell lines were ovarian, breast, glioblastoma, lung cancer, colon cancer, uterine, SSC, testicular, breast TNBC, pancreatic, endometrial. Those were the ones that were most sensitive to the ivermectin. And the least sensitive were osteosarcoma, gastric, and melanoma. Although lymphoma and leukemia cell lines appear to be more resistant to ivermectin, ivermectin has a significant impact on those cells' ability to form colonies. So yes, ivermectin is useful against both lymphomas and leukemias. Ivermectin also goes after cancer stem cells, which tend to be resistant to chemotherapy. Ivermectin has a preferential depletion effect on the cancer stem-like cell population. We observed that among all the evaluated cell lines, a decrease in cell viability and clonogenicity is more evident in the cancer stem cell-like cells than in their parental population. Key findings of this study. At a human dose of 2 milligrams per kilogram, ivermectin can achieve anti-cancer effects such as cell cycle arrest, inhibit proliferation, preferential inhibition of cancer stem-like cells, synergize with several chemotherapy drugs, and inhibit tumor growth in a breast cancer mouse model. Remember, turbo cancers caused by the Pfizer and Moderna jabs are very resistant to chemotherapy. Ivermectin can overcome this chemo resistance. This is the first study I've seen that has tested as many as 28 cancer types with ivermectin. Incredible. No wonder it is hidden from the public. Now, you can go to the co-op, to the animal section, and you can buy ivermectin, and you can buy fenbendazole. But the thing is this, you must be careful with the dosage. You must know what you're doing, because if you overdose on those things, you can damage your kidneys and your liver. You must be careful with that. And I'm not going to give you dosages and things like that, because that's not what I do. That's why I say you need someone that knows what he is doing that treat you. But there are people that has got this pre-packaged packs. That's now the magic silver bullet. One size fits all. In my own personal life, I've seen it, that when Jan does a test and then he says to me, okay, it works in most of the people, but in your body don't like this stuff. The efficiency is very, very low. And then he goes for something else that does the same thing, but that is more effective. And that is why I did this morning, that you must understand, the moment that you embark on the alternative protocol and it works, you have to understand there's going to be 2 to 3 weeks that you're going to feel like shit. There's no other word for it. You're not going to feel well, because that detoxing, that initial detoxing is rough. And that is when people normally stops. They stop the protocol when they go through that detox, because it is just too bad. Unfortunately, you have to go through it. In my case, mine was visible because I was peeing liver. Looks like liver. And it is ugly, and I'm not going to show images of it. But you have to understand that I could see the things coming out. If you have a breast cancer or something like that, you can't see it. You don't see this, the things like you see it when it's in your bladder. Because in the bladder, when it gets killed, it must come out. When it comes out, you see it come out. And that can be scary. So think about this and understand that initial 2 to 3 weeks, if you were a good caretaker, that initial 2 to 3 weeks can be extremely rough. But you just have to get through that. Once you're through that, the process becomes easier. And then you must not forget, your lifestyle is going to play a major role. You have to look at what you're eating. You have to stop eating certain things and stay away from it. And there are lots of guidance available on the internet of what you should eat and what you should not eat. The same with drink. And then you must drink a lot of water, especially during that detox phase. I was drinking almost 3 liters of water a day. And now you must understand, when you take that long, high volumes of water, you have to keep in mind that you are depleting your electrolyte, and your body is an electrical thing, man. So I put 3 milligrams of salt on 1 liter of water, and then I put a cup of lemon juice with it. The lemon plays a role, but it also makes it taste like something. But it's important to have that salt in, to get that salt in, because you need it to keep your electrolytes fine. You can buy electrolyte mixes. There's a lot of them available. I'm just using plain salt. Not plain salt. I use the Kalahari salt that was structured by Anton Bruce. So for me, that's how it worked. But I mean, I was astounded this morning when I got really chopped up about the fact that I suggested that this person change its protocol. It's your choice. You do what you think good, but you have to understand there's a spiritual side which is extremely important, 40% basic, and then the physical and the mental. Mentally, you will struggle because those that are around you and care for you, they don't understand how lonely you are. They don't understand because you are facing the cancer every day. They not. They facing you, and they convert you to the cancer, and then they're happy and talk about, but you're the one that goes through it and lives through it. So focus on the spiritual side. Without that, I wouldn't have made it. I'm sure I wouldn't have made it. And then keep in mind, there's a detox process. Keep in mind. I see Nisha's talking about here in the chat about problems on the platform. I did a quick glance this morning, some of the guys that I follow, and I see all of them. I have got a plug-in thing that gives me a summary of the statistics of the site. And all of them, there's a major dive in viewers, and there's also a tapering down of subscribers. I don't know what the fuck YouTube is doing, but that's what I experienced. So I hope you find value in this. Think about it. Just understand. When you start on this, let's call it the natural way with the cancer, if you have a good caretaker, you will experience severe detox stress initially because he has to clean your body. You must get the poison out. And then after that, you have to deal with all the wreckage from the tree. That garbage needs to be removed. So whatever protocol he puts you on, you must make sure and confirm that you are getting a proper, solid detox protocol with it. Now, I'm going to stop on that. If you want more information, please put it in the comments on the video and share it and subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, but you must not forget for 1 sec how important spiritual part is, because spiritual attack can manifest in physical symptom in your body. Trust me on that. I have experience, and to handle that is a little bit more of a challenge than just taking pill. Have a great day.